Rugby League is back. Drum roll, please.
You're a true Warriors fan.
I have no recollection of that hot take.
We don't all have to agree.
It's good to be back.
It's just a really boring thing.
Oh, partner.
Start winning some games.
I think there'll be a lot of changes to the team.
I've got them making the 8 for mine.
Let's go. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Advantage Line, TAB's Rugby League betting podcast. My name is Karl Teddy, and I am solo in studio today. No idea where Paul Mawate is. Can only assume he had the winner in the Melbourne Cup and may not come back ever. With me, though, today, Nick Tedeschi. Teddy, can only assume you had the winner in the Melbourne Cup too.
You can assume incorrectly. That's why I'm here, scrambling for a paycheck. No, look, I'm just glad to be in studio, and after the results last weekend, I'm just glad to be here with you as to see the hurt, the pain, the disappointment that goes with the New Zealand loss. You know, nothing makes me happier. So glad to be here.
Don't jump the gun. We'll get to that shortly. We should welcome in our third man in this week, Blake Ayshford, stepping in for Paul Mawate. What an upgrade!
Oh, thanks, mate. I did speak to Paul yesterday as well. He said he had a bit of work on for you guys, but I think that quickly went probably about after race 1 or 2, and he got on to the festivities. So I know he would have been sending some photos to you last night, Karl, about the night, what was.
Yeah, I saw him interviewing a horse at one stage, so things were obviously descended pretty quickly after that.
Yes, he did interview a horse. I can confirm that. And I did get a photo from him. He loves a little half forehead selfie, and I got a couple of half forehead selfies from Paul. Anyway, quickly, we've just discussed off air. Let's discuss on air. Melbourne Cup. Any luck anywhere across the day, lads?
No, certainly not the Melbourne Cup.
Quick discussion.
I had warp speed each way, which was something, but it was a disappointing cup. Some of the rides the horses got, like how Seeking from barrier 1 ended up 4 lengths last, was one of the worst rides I've ever seen in any race ever. Like, that was the Chris Butler of rides. Like, that was that bad. Like, it was like, if she's considered a world class jockey, I'll give it away. Like, that was horrific. Like, yeah, well done. The 4 across the line that finished up there were the 4 that copped probably the best rides. Zardozi copped a great ride. Nice Choice copped a great ride. But how could you ever find it? I think it might have been the first one I put a line through.
Yeah. No, I'm the exact same. I knew straight away as the day started, I backed the first 2 winners in New Zealand to start the day. And I knew straight away then I go, oh, yeah, I'm gone. So it's always the case. I had some success early. Got a first 4 in the last at Randwick, which sort of wasn't too bad. Not high percentage though, but it was good just to finish on a high. It's like going on the golf course and you shoot 110, but you know that last one's a birdie, or you have a good shot. So it'll always keep you coming back.
I don't know why that was your last there, Blake, because I was still trying to get out and Willie Pike on the last, and he turned into Holly Doyle-esque ride with his last, when the nation was 2 nations were swinging on Big Willie Pike at the end, but wasn't so great.
You talk about good rides, Teddy. Absurd down the inside.
Yep.
With the pink cap was flying.
Absolutely flying.
This bloke was on Absurd, and I was just about up out of my seat when it ran into a brick wall and went nowhere.
Oh, we'll say this. That is the great thing about the Cup, right? Like, such a huge field. Like, how many of those hard luck stories that we had over the years are just like running up the backside of a horse and stuff like that? Like, it was. But I was also on Absurd. It was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. But it was,
from like
what a chaotic finish!
Away. Huh?
What a chaotic finish, though. Like, in the last few Melbourne Cups, you've kind of seen horse break away at the kind of 200 or 300, and there's been kind of not a lot of drama in it. But this year, boy, that lead changed plenty in the last kind of 300.
Yeah. I thought Buckaroo, when he came around the outside early on, I thought he was going to put pay to him.
Yeah, I don't think he saw the 2 miles out. He just kind of peaked at his run, didn't he?
Yeah.
I had I won the 3 races leading into the Melbourne Cup, and then the 1 post Melbourne Cup. Couldn't get around the Cup though.
About 81. Yeah. Do you reckon J-Mac had a point to prove yesterday. Rode almost every winner because he didn't have a thing right in the cup.
Yeah.
I don't know how he doesn't get one, but he definitely showed.
Imagine not getting a ride in the cup if you J-Mac. Like seriously, what are these owners doing?
Heard he was relying on Via Sistina and then left it too late.
It doesn't matter. I'd be sacking a jockey on Monday if J-Mac didn't have a ride to get him on my horse. I'll tell you, I'd put him on Seeking ahead of Holly Doyle. There's a hot tip.
I said to someone here, I thought, surely one of these jockeys goes down with a hammy.
Just walk into the race.
Well, they've nobbled horses in the past. I'd be nobbling a few jockeys to get J-Mac on board.
Quick one before we move on. This is a question Paul was asking punters yesterday. Would you rather own the Melbourne Cup favourite or have $10,000 cash in hand?
I'm the Melbourne Cup favourite. Easy.
Yep. I would go the same. Just because I reckon you're more of a chance to at least jag something with that than that 10,000. I can see.
I'll just blow it on the day.
Pretty quickly.
Responsibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Melbourne Cup pays down to I'm not sure they pay down at least 10th. If you're the favourite, you'd get more than $10,000 for aim 10th. I'd be confident.
Vauban jumped favourite?
Yeah. No, I think Buckaroo jumped favourite actually.
Oh, well, I've got the stats for Vauban. 21 starts, 8 wins, 5 seconds, 2/3, 2.5 million in prize money so far.
Yeah.
You probably take the horse.
Well, if you've got it, so you don't just have it for Melbourne Cup Day. You've got it for ever.
No, you probably just Melbourne Cup Day, but maybe I don't know. We can make the rules up in this game, you know.
No, if it's forever a day, I'll take the Melbourne Cup roughie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They'll probably cover the 10,000.
What's the line you reckon? What's the number you'd need before you start considering taking the cash?
Outright ownership of the horse, just like by yourself.
Yeah, sure.
100,000.
Yeah, I'd be the same. Yeah, I'd be maybe 100 or maybe just a bit over.
Yeah, I'll be doing the sums though, make sure you've got the right number there.
All right, good to know. Okay, let's talk rugby league. I don't have the betting results from last week in front, and I can only assume Paul has not done them. So we'll touch base after the Pacific Championships wrap up next week and look at all our betting. But Blake was well ahead. Do you guys recall what you punted on last week?
I got greedy and kind of nailed it. I was all over Papua New Guinea, but then had him 30 plus, I think. So had him 30 plus into a Robert Darby try. So they completely bottled that by barely playing for 60 minutes of the game.
I think I had PNG minus into the unders in the Kiwis Tonga game. Obviously did not hit the unders. How bad is it betting unders and seeing the score just tick up like that, and then for the whole game in your head you're working out how you can still get the unders and how you can still win the bet when the tries are still coming in, and then there's like that moment when you realise, shit, I can't win anymore. Yeah. And you're just flat, right? Like betting unders sucks.
Well, depends on your mentality. If you're an absolute grub like I am, then betting unders is great fun. But the worst thing that can possibly happen if you're in the unders is a big outsider getting to a huge lead early and scoring points. Like that is the worst thing that can possibly happen. Like if that's the favourite, if that was New Zealand going up, like they take the foot off the pedal, they cruise to a 36-6 win, you get the bet. But other way around, New Zealand think, well, Jesus, we've got to win this.
I can confirm I didn't go good either. I had PNG 13 plus, Toa Samoa plus 19.5. I don't even know that score, to be honest. How did they go?
Yeah, they won. Just.
Yep, and I had the Kiwis.
Oh, sorry, as in the men's team?
Yeah, the men's.
Oh, I think they lost by 18, so.
That was a tick, but I had the Kiwis 1-12 in that multi. So I did think they were going to come home strong and did not quite get there. So, but we can get on to that.
Yeah, well, let's just go straight into looking at the games. I'm looking at the wrong run sheet here. Here we go. Let's Samoan women beat the Fijian women 16-12. Kiwi Ferns beat the PNG Orchids 36-0. Let's go Kumors first. PNG Kumors 42, Cook Islands 20. Ted, you mentioned PNG probably didn't have their best stuff against Cook Islands.
That was very flat. I was surprised because they came and played full of energy against Fiji, and this was a big opportunity for them to. So they were trailing nearly all the first half. I'm pretty sure they scored all of their points, or nearly all of their points, in about a 10-minute period before half-time and after half-time, so 10 minutes side of the break. When they're on, they are outstanding. Like, Nano McDonald is playing in world-class form. Like, he made the Super League Dream Team this year. He's absolutely flying. But they were just off the boil from the get-go. Demetrio must have given them a good rev-up at half-time because they came out firing. But then went back to being completely flat, let in a try. For those on the minus 21.5, was deeply concerning. And then a last play miracle. And the worst part of all that was some got minus 22.5 at the end. Nano McDonald, being a fool there, bounced his way over the try line and refused to put the ball under the post, of which the conversion missed and cost plenty of people plenty of cash. So, but I thought they were disappointing. I think they've got upside in them, but I thought they took the game very easily, which was a bit disappointing.
Imagine this scenario. A TAB employee is on a podcast with a well-known media brand here in New Zealand called the ACC, a betting podcast. And instead of taking just the minus 19.5 or 20.5, whatever it was, he gets a little bit leery and he takes minus 24.5 for an extra 40-odd cents.
It's a mugs game taking an extra line when you're tipping. Now, when you're punting, it's a different story. When you're tipping, you just want to get the glory.
I wanted the $2 something, not the $1.90. That's tough.
How that didn't cover, like they were entitled to win that game by 40 more. Like, they absolutely dominated the game. They just dropped and blew so many opportunities. It was not helped by how many line ball passes that Peter Goff and the touchers just called forward. Like, some of the ones were a metre backwards and they called them forward.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say they scored 5 tries in a 17-minute window before and after halftime, and then had 3 tries outside of that.
Yeah, I just think a lot of the players in that team wouldn't have faced how you look at an opposition already knowing what they've already done. You just have to get there, get the job done. You don't have to win by a big margin. So I think a lot of them would have been a bit complacent. Not having been in an international environment at that type of level before, I think a lot of them would have just been saying, well, they lost to Fiji by 30. We beat Fiji by 30. We'll do this easy. And that's what it sort of seemed like, to your point, Teddy. They just went out there and just sort of knew they had what it took if they needed to get the job done.
Yeah.
And just more had eyes on this week's game. So, look, I still think they're going up every year and getting better. I just think there's still levels to this game, which we'll dive into when we get into this week's game. But like last week, you can see the levels. They knew when they needed to go, they could go, and they got the job done against the Cookies. But they definitely need to be on for 80 this week.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. New Zealand 24, Tonga 25. Tonga jumped out to a 24-6 halftime lead. Jason Taumalolo was playing like it was 2015.
Jason Taumalolo hates New Zealand. He's hated them since David Kidwell left him on the bench in a game in Perth. And he is pretty much the sole reason Tonga and Samoa are powers right now.
Yeah, absolutely he is. His first...
He did not give the Cowboys a single game like that this year.
His first stint was incredible. He was bowling blokes over for fun. And then follow that up with Adam Whanua Blake, Ali Katoa, Felice Kafusi. They just bashed down the front door, and the Kiwis had no answer in that first half. It was truly incredible and shocking all at once.
You have to weather the storm, though, and they just didn't. And look, to the point, I think if they went set for set, the Kiwis win the game. It was 7 errors to 1 in the first half. I don't care what team you're playing. You cannot give them, like Will Tamalolo on that, would they have played like that if it was set for set? Don't know. It's a what if. But 7 errors? Like the Kiwis were awful to start that game. That was probably one of the worst 20, 30 minutes I think I've seen from an international team with the amount of errors that they actually made. But a lot of points out of this game. I did never think I would say Isaiah Katoa outkicked Sean Johnson. I thought they were going back to the similar Warriors style, like kick up in the air, but it's not high enough so the chasers can't get there. The kick across field to Willie Warbrick, which should have been a threat, happened 3 times in the game, but it didn't quite get out to the wing. It was 5-10 metres infield, so he couldn't get to the ball. Look, there's a lot of factors that come out of this. Even Cody Nikorima, I think, needs to be used a lot earlier. You're just running Phoenix Crossland into the ground. And the one positive, I end with positive, Keon Kinney. Now, that kid's become a success, I reckon, because once he starts to, he's still young, but once he starts to get that extra skill, the catch and pass, the how to read defenses, I think he's going to be a superstar because he's got the pace, which you can't teach, but he's just got that drive to keep wanting the ball. And look, I think for Gold Coast, they've found a number one. And I think for the Kiwis, he was probably their best on pitch.
After the first 20 minutes where he was doing his best Manu Vatuvei versus Eels 2007 impression, he was the worst. Like everything he touched was terrible.
But that's their whole team. And to even put to the point, that goes back to my point about Katoa and SJ. Because Katoa would put the ball in the air where the Tongan chasers could get to it. And they were competing for it. So it's 50-50 every time. But when the Kiwis were putting the ball in the air, they would run down and just stop, wouldn't compete. They would let whoever was at the back, Hopewadi or whoever, just take the catch. And, I mean, it's different there. 50-50 every time.
Teddy, I can see you waiting.
I'm just loving this. I'm just absolutely loving this. This is one of the worst Kiwi sides I've seen. Like, they are very ordinary. And I know he's a legend of New Zealand Rugby League, but Stacey Jones is coaching. I know it's his first series. We should severely come under question for his use of the bench, and in particular, sticking with Charles Nickel-Clockstad at 5'8", because everyone knows SJ's kicking the ball. That's a big problem. That's a massive problem, and you just don't get that with Tonga. You don't get that with most good sides, and I just think it's a massive issue.
Especially when you're not going forward too. Like that first half when they were only making 30 metres each set. That's impossible.
Yeah, totally. And I don't understand. Like, one thing this team needs is a kind of injection of youth. You know, like, you've got Keano Kinney, the revelation. I don't know why not playing Casey McLean in the centres ahead of Peter Hiku. Like, McLean's the future. He is, like, got all the talent in the world. You're obviously one of the great centres of the NRL era, Blake. Who's scaring you more if he lines up against you, Peter Hiku or Casey McLean in 2024? Not peak Peter Hiku, of course, was a very good player, but yeah, he's certainly at the back end of his career right now. I don't understand the sticking with the same team. I thought it was a real error in judgment, not making the changes you need to make. So, and that'll come under question. I think it's great for Tonga and Samoa and all these nations to win. It is great for the international game. But from a New Zealand point of view, how are you losing to a country with a population of 106,000? That is just not... Like, you're a tier 1 nation. That is not acceptable. And, like, I don't know what the media's been like over there, whether it's even of any importance at the moment. But it is... Like, it was... I thought it was a diabolical performance, followed up from, I wouldn't call the performance against Australia diabolical, but they were severely outmatched by what I would consider a particularly poor Australian side. Like, after that first 20 minutes, New Zealand seemed to have no field position, didn't score against Australia. So, and the ability to get a team on for it, like, it shouldn't be hard to get up for a test match. And particularly, like, I imagine that the atmosphere around Auckland was pretty intense, right? A lot of Tongan fans, a lot of excitement. I would have thought, both teams will be well and truly up for it. New Zealand didn't come out of the sheds.
Mm.
They were smashed up front because I think I do think Tonga have a better pack, but it was also a matter of will and intent as well. And Tonga had the will and intent, and New Zealand didn't.
Well, for the first half, second half,
yeah. But you shouldn't need embarrassment to inspire you to effort.
Question for you is so I'm thinking of it, and Teddy, you might not know, but the rugby union side, they sort of prepare for a World Cup. That's what they go for. So obviously you chop and change teams in preparation. With this, how often would you sacrifice the Pacific Championship, just a loss, to your point, change the teams around blood players in different positions to then work towards a World Cup, knowing that should be the main goal? I think that's to your point, how they're not changing their team. You'd blood case in McLean. You'd see, okay, well, we've got 3 years to the next World Cup, 2 years, whatever it is. Let's try and see who our 7's going to be. Let's see who our 6 is going to be. Let's try and work out a team now so they're starting to play together with one main picture, one main goal at the end of it.
Well, I think you need a strategy, right? Mal's obviously undertaken that. He's not picked James Tedesco because he thinks Dylan Edwards will be the fullback. He's trying Moses and Dearden ahead of Cherry Evans, but he doesn't think decent. So he's obviously kind of looking towards that World Cup. But I would say I don't know anything about rugby union. I don't care to know anything about rugby union. But I would suggest there's probably more than probably 2 teams that can win a rugby union World Cup. Yep. Whereas, really, Australia have won, 11 of the last 12 World Cups. New Zealand have a puncher's chance. England have a puncher's chance, but really they're not winning World Cups for the most part. So, yeah, it's a difficult one, but I think regardless of what your strategy is, whether you're looking towards a World Cup or trying to pick the best team now, at least this week, off the back of 2 losses, you should be picking Casey McLean. Yeah. You should be looking at that. And under no circumstances is anyone considering Chance Nickel-Klokstad the 5'8" for the next New Zealand World Cup. So I don't understand why that's happening. So I understand it's tough this time of year. There's been a lot of withdrawals. Pacific Champs obviously not the most important thing in the world, but I would have thought you'd just play Cody Nicarima for a hot year at 5'8".
Mm. Yeah. Just quickly, we'll move on in a second, but I just want to shout out Joseph Tapan's try down the wing. Was it one of the best tries I've ever seen from a prop ever?
Outstanding. Is he not one of the most underrated players in the game? No one ever talks about him as one of the great front rowers around, but his numbers and his impact, he's kind of hardly done by playing Canberra.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get better too, because they tend to play until they're about 34, and the props seem to get better when they're about 30, 31. So
how old would he be now? Been around a while.
Yeah, late 20s maybe.
Yeah.
29?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's just getting better every year.
Yeah.
He is 30.
There you go.
May the 4th he was born. Wellingtonian. All right. Cool. Let's move on. Keep this show ticking. Actually, quickly, Kiwis had a chance to win that game or ice the game 4 minutes before full time and decided not to take a shot. That was poor. After doing all the work to come back, take the effing shot.
I got no idea why the shot wasn't taken. And also, why did Osako take the kick straight after the charge down? The field goal shot. Surely you've got 6 again, you've got a minute to play, you set yourself for a better shot.
Yeah.
That was a panic. And following on from his missed shot, Sako's maybe not getting the grief he possibly deserves for this one.
A lot of people are overlooking Tonga almost cost themselves. When you kick, you have a penalty kick. So the rule is if it goes dead, it's a dropout. That Tongan player had a chance to catch it and run it back, and it was their ball. And he left it thinking that, we'll go back to there. So they almost cost themselves, overlooking, not knowing the rules and things like that. But to your point, exactly, the Kiwis, I think, once again had a chance to win it. And it would have been an all-time comeback from where they were in that first half.
As a completely talentless, weak, no good rugby league player, there's nothing that infuriates me more than a professional player who doesn't know the rules. Just learn, especially the guys who touch it inside the 10 metres when it's just dribbling off from a short drop out. Just learn the bloody rules.
Yeah, that Greg Inglis. Let's go and play the grid. If you're playing along at home, pause the pod. Go find the grid for Tuesday, 5th of November. Come back and compare your scores. Mine is not great this week. Nothing from Paul. Across the top.
To be fair, there'd be nothing from Paul if he was in the studio next to you right now.
I know, but at least we could make fun of him.
Quite confident this week.
You what?
Quite confident.
Okay. Has kicked a field goal, has played for the Dogs, has played for 3 or more clubs down the left, has played for the Bunnies, has played 100 or more games, and has played for the Titans. Teddy, we'll start with you across the top, please.
Kicked a field goal, South Sydney. The great man, Tricky, Darryl Trindle. Wizard, 0.85.
Fuck, he did it.
So cooked already.
Bulldogs, Bunnies. Hard one. Blake Solly's managed to offload a whole heap of horrible South players to the Bulldogs in recent years, so shout out to Blake and well done. But I've gone back a bit in time. One we offloaded to them, Shane Martini, 2.22.
You've made that up.
Played for 3+ clubs, South Sydney. Adam Peake, 0.68. Played for 100 clubs.
When I said confident, I meant like in myself. Confident that I'll come
against me, against Karl.
Kicked a field goal. Owen Craigie, 2.01. South Sydney and Bulldogs player Yelene Buddy Gordon, 2.27. And played for 3 clubs, Nigel Wagner, 1.39.
He's resigned here.
Come on, Moati.
Greg Inglis, 10.09. Blake Taff, 3.05. Dane Nielsen, 0.9.
Nice.
Middle row, Ted.
Kicked a field goal, played 100+ games. Maybe my favourite field goal ever. Ian Hindmarsh, the big second rower, 0.40 Wizard. Bulldogs played 100+ games. One of my favourites, Darren Smith, 0.40 Wizard. And played for 3+ clubs, 100+ games. Ben Walker, 0.14 Wizard.
That's a G up. You've got to be close to first place here.
I was third when I submitted it, so
mate.
It was a good week.
Kick the field goal, 100 games. Luke Brooks, 1.21. The Bulldogs player, Michael Leacher, Brain, 0.61. And played for 3 clubs, Todd Lowry, 0.32.
Love Todd Lowry. Tackling machine.
Jamie Soward, 0.87. Dogs, 100 games. T-Rex, Tony Williams, 0.94. 3 clubs, 100 games. Wade McKinnon, my favourite fullback, 0.2. Brain.
I would love to eradicate every Tony Williams game from Bulldogs history. They were not good.
You might be close here, Tylee. The English might cost you.
Oh, no, it gets worse.
Kicked a field goal, Titans, Matt Rogers, 4.39.
Oh.
Bulldogs, Titans, Daniel Conn, Brain, 1.93. And played for 3+ clubs, Gold Coast, Matthew White, 1.19.
I've got kicked a field goal, one of my old teammates, Joshy Lewis, Wizards, 0.55.
Oh, you pull out the Josh Lewis plenty of times. He's one of your old favourites.
The Dogs and Titans, Lachlan Bird, 3.80. And played for 3 clubs, Titans, Daniel Conn, Wizards, 0.37.
Daniel Conn getting a run. The male model. When you start your OnlyFans account, Daniel Conn style, like.
Move on.
Field goal, Titans, Jared Hayne, 9.93. Dogs, Titans, Lachlan Bird, 3.80. 3 clubs, Titans, Brinko Lee, 1.25.
Brinko Lee. He's always had 100 clubs, hasn't he?
He has had 4 clubs.
Really?
Yep. Canberra, Canterbury, Gold Coast, Melbourne.
That's
and
the Dolphins.
One
for
premiership with Melbourne.
That's for the Dolphins.
Well, not according to this.
not play for the Dolphins? Am I making it up?
He's definitely on their roster, wasn't he?
Yeah. He played 13 games for the Dolphins and the Broncos. I think that page needs updating.
Yeah.
Are you on Wikipedia?
I am now, yeah.
Yeah. Rugby League Project is where you want to go. Canberra, Canterbury, Gold Coast, Melbourne, Broncos, Dolphins.
Played for Tonga too.
You did too. Where was that? Where's the Ayshford name from, Blake? Like, where could you have plucked some eligibility for a World Cup if the
I think Scotland, Ireland was for my mum's side, but missed out by one generation, and Scottish is the Ayshford name.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. Totals.
12.2.
Sorry?
Oh,
12.2. Did you get me, Blake?
Nah, 12.5.
Oh, that's close. This was Tonga, New Zealand. I'm charging him.
12 plus 12 plus 7. 31.
And there comes the Cook Islands coming into it.
Hey, we turned up. We gave it an effort. We gave it a go. All right, let's do these previews and let's get out of here. Jillaroos $1.18 versus Kiwi Ferns $5. Jillaroos are 10.5-point favourites. The total is 35.5. Ted, who's winning this game?
Jillaroos winning the game. I think they probably cover as well. They've been pretty underwhelming this tournament. The Kiwi Ferns. They didn't cover the first game against Australia on a late try, but they missed out on the PNG Auckland game by 21.5 points. They severely underperformed that. Now, I was very keen on the Aucklands in that game, but scoring 36 was pretty disappointing, I would have thought. And they were held to 4 for a long time in that first half. I've got no idea what Ricky Henry's doing with this team as well. Like, I thought Tiana Davison was one of their best against Australia. She got quote-unquote rested last week. And now she can't get back on the team. She's 18th woman. Nichols and Biddle both got rested last week when I'm pretty sure you need to be trying to build combinations to beat Australia, but they were very scrappy in that first game. Yeah, I think Australia win this. The last 5 tests against the Kiwi Ferns have been won by 14 or more, and I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but given the history kind of prior to that, that's a hell of a lot, including that 54-0 win in the final, 54-4 win in the final of the World Cup. So I think a final back at Australia at Combank, weather's supposed to be dry, fast. I think kind of Australia might run a bit rampant here, and I'll be taking the minus, and I'll be all over kind of Tamika 2+ tries, first and last.
Blake, who are you backing?
Yeah, the Jillaroos. Look, I think the Kiwi Ferns have been a bit underwhelming. I know, like you said, Teddy, they did rest some players last week, but I just think even in the first game, they have been underwhelming. And the Jillaroos haven't been outstanding. They weren't outstanding against the Kiwi Ferns, but I think this could be Brigginshaw's last game. It has to be.
She's been very poor for quite a while. At this level, there's so many good options out there as well.
I see they've called in Southwell into the team this week, Jesse Southwell, who I think will be the future there. But I think the Jillaroos just get it done. I think they win. They could win by a big margin as well. I think this might be maybe the last sort of campaign or the last sort of tilt towards a World Cup for a number of these players like a Kezi Apps, maybe some of the backs as well. So I think they'll try to go out in style.
No race team really hurts New Zealand as well. There's just no organisation there. Like there's just no. Like Gail Broughton's a great player, but she's very much a running 5'8". More suited probably to centres than anything. And Tyler King's just I don't think he's up to it. So I think no race team is really hurting this team.
Alrighty. Why are the Kiwis and PNG playing after Australia Tonga? That seems stupid.
Because no one's going to watch the 6 o'clock game and everyone's going to watch the 4 o'clock game, leading into the news over here. It's silly. It's silly. I don't disagree.
My thinking was the same as you. I thought they would have had the promotion relegation games on the same day, and then the 2 finals on the same day.
I should have started earlier. If they want, they definitely wanted Australia Tonga to lead into the news, which is like the highest rated news on Sunday evening. But just play the other games earlier.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna go reverse. We're gonna look at the Kiwis first. Kiwis $8, PNG $7.50. Kiwis are 19.5-point favourites. Teddy, before you tell me why you think PNG is going to win, I want it on the record that you're completely out of your mind and there's no way that PNG will win this game. They might cover, but they will not win.
They would be hard pressed to win. They will be hard pressed to win, but they are a team on the up and they should not be underestimated. So, I certainly will not be betting PNG to win the game, but I will be.
I've got text messages that suggest otherwise.
Well, you do because I like to talk to you after a bad loss. So
yeah, look what it's doing to me. You've
pricked me. I've got you worked up. I'm not a nice person. I'm not a nice person.
Yeah, I know.
This line is ridiculous for one. This line is absolutely ridiculous for one. Plus 19.5. I will be all over the Commonwealth. They've won 4 in the last 3 tests. Only 3 of those losses have been by more than 18. They've beaten Great Britain at home. Now, I know this is Con Mankin's a different kettle of fish, but if they play against Fiji, there's no way New Zealand will beat them by 20. Now, if they play against the Cook Islands, New Zealand can 100% beat them by 20. So I'm not saying that, but I like the aggression and the intent that you can get from PNG. I think they'll be up for this game. I think if they struggled to get up last week to get to the final, I think they're going to really struggle to get up for this game in New Zealand. But the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause is that there is absolutely no way in the world the NRL does not want New Zealand playing Australia next year and do not want a top-level series of Australia, Tonga and Papua New Guinea. So I'm pretty sure every decision will go New Zealand's way. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if Stacey Jones was handed the whistle and given allowed to referee the game.
You'd say it'd be hard for the Kiwis to get up. Like, that's pretty good motivation to get up.
It's pretty good motivation to get into the final as well. But we did see last week, embarrassment does seem to drive the Kiwis more than anything else. And playing bowl games against Cook Islands would probably be enough embarrassment, I would have thought. So, I really liked the PNG pack. I think they can absolutely match it with the New Zealand pack, particularly what we saw last week in the first half. The class in the back line is probably a little bit wide. They were pretty wasteful with the ball, PNG. And they also don't mind. They don't play risk-averse football. They're definitely happy to throw it around. So a professional team, like at the end of the day, New Zealand are a team of first graders, and PNG have a couple of NRL players with whole heap of Queensland Cup and English Super League players in it. So New Zealand deserved favourites, but I'll be backing the plus and pretty confidently too.
Blake?
Yeah, look, I spoke in our review before that there's levels to this. And the Kiwis are just above in class here. Look, I don't think – I know how bad the Kiwis played last week, but it was 7 errors to me that cost them the game. It was that, we speak about first. I can't see – it'd be very hard for me to see the Kiwis do that again, which I can't see happening. If they go set for set with PNG, I think they can put on a score. And we're raving about PNG, and rightly so. They've been tremendous in the teams they're playing. But the halves they've been playing is Kevin Nagama, Donahue, who's a lock. They've played Brad Takarangi and Isam Masters, who are both centres. Like, they haven't played
and 100 years old.
Yeah, well, they haven't played. Yes, Sean's probably his last ever game, but he's still enough there. He still knows how to get around and steer a footy team. And Chance will do a job at 6, whether there is a change with Cody or not, or they stick to the same team. I just think that the Kiwis are too much class over the field. PNG will give a sight, and they're very strong, very tough. But look, the embarrassment of, as we say, losing this game and then playing in the bowl next year, I can't see happening. And I think they're up for this, and they can do a number on PNG. I think it'll be tight early, but set for set, they'll just wear them down.
Question for you both. Take away like the game-breaking ability of it. If you just needed a halves pairing to guide you around the field, would you rather have Sean and Chance, or would you rather have Lockie Lamb and Kyle Abbott? I just think it gives them options. I think like they'll kick well. Like Sean's obviously one of the greatest. I absolutely love Sean, but Sean's playing his last game, and Sean's hasn't got a kick in him. Don't know if he's got too many passes in him either. So I don't know. I think I'd take the PNG duo, to be honest.
Well, that's been the difference in that bowl competition is the halves. Is Lachlan Lamb and Labert have, been they're the actual out and out halves. So that's why they've excelled. They've had the players that are in the forwards have matched, the backs have matched.
They've also played together for a long time in the international set. Like, they've probably been together for 15 tests, and that history together, I think, plays a big part. I think Lachie Lamb's played really, really well.
I think this week, though, I think you're right. But this week, the intensity, the inside pressure, the no one jumping out of the line, like you see in these other
play off the back foot as well, right? For a lot of the game, which is very different.
When was the last time PNG were competitive with a Tier 1 nation?
Well, they beat Great Britain 3 years ago. Let me pull them up. But New Zealand last played them in 2013 World Cup, and that's PNG were down on their knees, and that wasn't the PNG you see now, where they put resources into it. The Hunters have been playing, all that kind of stuff. But let's have a look over the last few. So they got flogged by England 46-6 at the 2022 World Cup. They pushed Tonga 24-18 at the 2022 World Cup. Do you count Tonga as Tier 1? They're not, are they? Fringe Tier 1? Tier 1B. They beat Great Britain 28-10 in 2019 when they toured. Lost 36-6 to England. And 2017 World Cup's went as far back as you go.
Yeah.
So got to win over like a pretty handy Great Britain side. Like they flogged them. That Great Britain side had Johnny Lomax, Blake Austin, Gareth Widdop, Jackson Hastings, Tom Burgess, John Bateman, Elliot Whitehead, James Graham, Luke Thompson, Alex Walmsley, George Williams. So it was a good team.
Yeah, no, I'm just interested to know. I mean, and if you need more motivation, you mentioned it before. Eastjo's last ever game. I mean, it's a thing.
It didn't work out this year, did it? Too well for the Warriors.
What do you mean?
Last
game, last ever game.
Yep.
Shark Park. I remember. Okay. Australia $1.12, Tonga $6.50. Australia 8.5 point favourites. 42.5 is the total. Question to you both: have Tonga already played their final? Can they get up again?
Yes, I think they can.
Wow. Tell me more.
I think this line's too big. I think Australia win the game, but I think the first game these guys played was probably a fair reflection of where they're at. And that game was 14 points until Daniel Tupou decided not to tackle in the last minute. Losing Cam Murray is, I would say, fairly important. Like he's so important in getting that team moving. And he's so good on edge. Like I like Lindsay Smith, but Lindsay Smith is one of those random selections ever to play for Australia. Like he's in the Brad Godden territory of just like, I'm pretty sure we're going to forget this guy played for Australia in 2 years. Like, and he'll be the answer to a trivia question. Good player, but
I already forgot he was in the team, and we were talking about two Lindsays in the team 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. I don't think this Australian team is that good, and I certainly don't think they're playing well. I think Dylan Edwards has been very poor in both games. I think the halves have not really been able to build a connection just yet. I think the pack has been solid without being great. Like Angus Crichton is a shadow of the player he was early in the season. Yeah, I'm not sure Patrick Carrigan's going great guns. This is a kind of shot to nothing here for Tonga. I think the pack matches the Australian pack again. And they showed it in the first game. They forced a lot of errors by being aggressive with their defence. I think they can do it again. I think this number's too. I think Australia win the game, but I think the number's way too high.
Yeah, I remember sitting here before that first game, and I think everyone was on the Tonga Plus train, and Kangaroos managed to cover. So I think Australia, once again, too good. I think Tonga did play their final last week. Yeah, they'll get up for it. But let's not forget Australia have a bit of redemption here. They're in this game last year, got beat 30-0 and got embarrassed. I think there is a lot to play for. Hudson Young to the back row, I think that's where, obviously the depth of Australia losing Cam Murray sort of does hurt. You wouldn't ever think depth in the Kangaroos, that would be a problem. I think they can match it, Tonga, but I don't think Australia will give them those 7 errors that New Zealand did. I don't think Australia will give the game to Tonga that easy. And I think that, that first 20 minutes will be a feeling out process. But as we saw at the end of that last game, that didn't try. A couple of other tries, I just think fatigue will set in at CommBank. I think if I'm the Kangaroos, I'd be lining up on a back rower, and I'd just be playing shift to my edges to a turbo, or line up on the other back rower, Olakau'atu or Katoa, shift back to hammer. I think that's where you're going to find joy, out in the back rows, out in the centres. And while you're doing that and shifting, those middle forwards, they're not making tackles, but they're having to come up, having to move to the right, move to the left, and you're just going to tire them out in defence. So, look, I think the Kangaroos will have a good game plan for this, and I think I don't know about the line. Like you said, it is a lot, but I think they get the job done, 13+.
The fact this is a day game, I think, suits Australia with that level of fatigue, because they're a big side, they're an old pack in Tonga, and I kind of agree with Blake. I think they wear down a lot quicker than they did against New Zealand, so that's going to be a concern. But you said Australia covered that first game, Blake. Again, depending on what line you got, some of us got plus 18.5. So thank God for that Zach Lomax miss. I don't see Australia putting up a big score. I don't think they're built for a big score. So I think it's probably going to be touching, because I can't see Tonga scoring any more than one try. So I'd be, if you're going to bet, I think the unders will be a good bet in this game.
I think this
boring.
I think this tournament's just made for things just to be out of whack. Like, you look last year, who would have thought the Kiwis win against Kangaroos 30-0? Like 30-0. No, you might have thought they won. You didn't think they'd win 30-0.
I had 24.
Like who? Huh?
I had 24-0.
I just think there's going to be something here that's going to make us go, oh, I didn't see that coming. I think it could be an Australian big score, putting it all together.
I think if Australia played New Zealand, they would have put on a big score just as a revenge for last year. I think they would have won by 40.
Nah. No chance. I guess we'll never know.
No, we won't, because you lost to Tonga.
Well, I would love nothing more. Honestly, I would love nothing more than to come back here next week on a Tongan win. I would just, I pray for that.
I don't think Teddy needs the money that much. I don't think he'll be.
There's enough room between a Tongan cover and an Australian win to make me happy both ways. I do like those big lines. But I will say this, gambling always trumps national pride, so we'll death ride Australia if I need to.
Blake, you mentioned like running ball side to side using the width for Australia. I think like the second half in that Kiwis Tonga game, the Tongans were cooked. They were so tired when New Zealand were, on the attack. So I think that one, that would have taken a lot out of them. And two, Teddy, you mentioned day game, fast. Like
Australia had the rest as well, right?
Exactly. So I could see it could be quite tight for 60, but then that last 20, it could open up.
Yeah, maybe a Tonga first half plus is the better play.
There we go. Teamwork. All right. Should we get to some betting?
Yes.
Thanks.
Should.
Teddy, we'll start with you. Where's your 100 going this week?
All right. I'm going to have 80 on a treble. Gillaroos minus, PNG plus, Tonga plus. And I want to have 20 on Adam Fanua Blake to score a try. And the $7 mark, I guess.
Hey, it's funny because just as you read yours out, the treble, I've got a treble too.
The complete opposite.
$80 on. I've got the Gillaroos minus 10.5. I've got the Kiwis 13 plus and the Kangaroos 13 plus. So look, they could both get in, but yeah. And I've got the other 20 on Angus Crichton to score a try and the Hammer to score a double.
Let's hope he puts it down this time for you. Hold on Angus' first try that game. I will never forgive him for that. We'll never forgive him.
I need to swing for the fence here to try and catch Blake. So I'm going to go
Tonga 30-0.
24. I will go Kiwis minus, Tonga plus, and a Hammer try. All 100 on.
Love Hammer to score a try.
Yeah. And I'll see if Paul has sent me his.
Paul is still in bed, very hungover today. That's a hot tip.
I think he's on a plane.
Yeah,
That's what he's telling us anyway.
I thought he'd been banned from plane travel.
It's another podcast for another day. We will have to make sure his tips are in before kick-off. And Surly, well, poor form from Surly again. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today.
Great fun.
Can you believe, first one of the year, we've kept under an hour. This is my goal all year, and I've achieved the goal.
We're blaming Mo, or we are tiring like the Tongan defence. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, probably the latter. No, Teddy, thank you very much. We'll come back next week. We'll discuss the wash-up and the wrap-up of the Pacific Championships. So go well. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Blake, you too, mate. Thank you for stepping in last minute. Really appreciate it.
Always here. Thanks, fellas. Good to chat. The greatest game of all.
And to the punters, we'll see you next week.